In the next few minutes, you're going to discover practical strategies that can completely change how you think, speak, and influence the people around you. This isn't theory or fluff. These are actionable techniques you can start using today to communicate with clarity, confidence, and purpose. You'll learn how to understand emotions, control your body language, craft messages that inspire action, and build trust with every conversation. By the end of this video, you'll know how to align your thoughts, adapt your speech to different audiences, and use persuasion ethically to create real impact. Every insight is designed to help you grow personally, communicate effectively, and influence with integrity. If you want more tools and guidance to master communication and improve your life daily, make sure to subscribe to Audiobook Tone. Stay with us and unlock the skills that turn ordinary conversations into powerful opportunities. Number 1. Master clarity through mindful communication. Communication begins inside the mind. Clarity is not a gift. It is a habit carved by intention and practice. Notice the heartbeat before words. Notice how ideas crowd the head when pressure appears. The first step is to create a small space between thought and speech. That space becomes the tool for conscious choice. Breathe. Name what matters. Choose the simplest word that delivers the truth. Simplicity is not smallness. It is precision. Precision saves time, prevents misunderstanding, and builds trust. Start each day with a 3-minute clarity exercise. Close the eyes. Breathe slowly 3 times. Pick one idea you will communicate today, an instruction, a request, an opinion. Describe it out loud in a single sentence. Then reduce that sentence to 5 words, then to 3. This is not trimming for style only. It forces the mind to find the core. Practice making meaning lean. Speak that 3-word core to a mirror or record it on a phone. Listen back. The sound reveals gaps between intention and expression. Repeat until the core feels inevitable when spoken. When preparing a message, answer 3 questions in this order. What is the point, why it matters, and what the other person should do? Keep each answer to 1 sentence. If any answer requires more than a sentence, break it into 2 clear steps and reevaluate whether both are necessary right now. Structure matters more than eloquence. A clear structure is a signal of respect for the listener's attention. Words are the visible part of thought. Choose concrete words over abstract ones. Replace things and somehow with exact actions or numbers. Instead of improve performance, say increase sales by 10% in Q2. Instead of talk soon, say call Wednesday at 3 p.m. Concrete language anchors understanding. It creates measurable expectations. That reduces anxiety in others and in your silence is part of clarity. Pause deliberately at 3 points. Before answering, between major ideas, and at the end of a request. The pause before answering stops reactive speech. It tests whether the first impulse is the best one. The pause between ideas allows the listener to process. The pause after a request gives the other person a space to accept, disagree, or ask for details. Train the body to accept silence. It feels uncomfortable at first, then grows into a source of control. Remove filler words. Count how many times like, and actually appear in a single minute of speech. Most people do not know this number until they record themselves. Purposefully reduce fillers by replacing them with breathing or a silent pause. Each filler removed sharpens the message. An honest pause communicates thought. A filler erodes credibility. Active listening is the other side of clarity. Listening with the intention to understand rather than to reply transforms conversations. When someone speaks, hold the urge to plan the next sentence. Instead, paraphrase their last point in 2 short sentences. Name the idea, then name the feeling. Example, you want the report finished by Friday, and that deadline feels tight. This small act proves comprehension and calms the exchange. Ask one clarifying question that begins with which or what. Avoid why in pressured moments. It can sound accusatory. Apply a 3-step delivery method for important conversations. Frame, state, confirm. Frame with the outcome and context. I need to discuss the Q2 timeline so the team meets the client date. State the core message in plain language. Confirm by asking the other person to paraphrase the action or commitment. This short loop stops assumptions from becoming problems. Make practice of confirming non-negotiable. It prevents costly miscommunication. Control tone and pace as part of clarity. Tone carries intent more than words. When the voice tightens, meaning can be lost. Practice speaking with measured breath. Place a hand on the lower belly and push gently outward while speaking. This engages diaphragmatic breath and steadies the voice. For emphasis, slow down by 20% on the key phrase. Speed often masquerades as competence. Actual competence listens to cadence and chooses pacing that matches the message. Body language supports clarity or sabotages it. Face the listener. Soften the jaw. Allow the shoulders to relax. Maintain an even gaze but avoid staring. Small gestures underline points. Place a palm up to show openness. Use a single hand movement to mark transitions. Avoid crossing arms or checking a phone while speaking. Actions must match words. Inconsistent signals create confusion. Practice a short video of a 3-minute explanation and watch for mismatches between speech and movement. Correct the most distracting gesture first. Habits correct faster when attention is focused. Choose words that reduce defensiveness. Replace accusations or absolutes with observations and requests. Instead of "you never finish on time," say "the report arrived 2 days past the deadline. I need it by Friday. Can you confirm?" The first invites defense. The second moves directly toward a solution. Discipline the language to remove blame where the goal is cooperation. Stoic practice shows the result of action matters more than assigning fault. Make feedback specific, immediate, and paired with a suggestion. Praise the behavior, not the person. For example, the charts were clear and the data sources listed. To speed approval, add a 1-paragraph summary at the top. This keeps the focus on changeable actions. Avoid adjectives that become labels. Labels stick and narrow possibilities. When confronted with strong emotion, breathe and name the feeling aloud without judgment. This sounds frustrating. Naming calms the nervous system and creates a shared reality. After naming, return to facts. The delivery was 3 days late. The client requested. Follow the fact with a single request. Emotions then have a container and a direction. This method does not minimize feelings. It allows the conversation to move forward with respect. Practice micro-preparations before every important interaction. Spend 2 minutes to list the desired outcome, the likely objections, and one compromise that is acceptable. Keep the list visible during the conversation. If tension rises, return to the list. Having a plan reduces reactive behavior. Discipline in preparation converts anxiety into clarity. Measure improvement with honest metrics. Record 3 conversations per week, 1 at work, 1 at home, 1 in a neutral setting. Time the use of pauses, count fillers, and grade clarity on a 5-point scale. Purpose, structure, concreteness, pacing, and confirmation. Track progress weekly. Small improvements compound. Notice which changes produce the most impact and prioritize them. Language shapes identity. Speak about personal growth in terms of process. Replace "I'm bad at public speaking" with "practice improves my delivery." This small change in phrasing moves the mind from fixed failure to actionable growth. Reinforce progress by journaling 1 sentence each evening describing what was communicated clearly that day and what to try tomorrow. Build rituals that support clarity. Begin meetings with a 1-sentence purpose and end with a 1-sentence next step. Use an agenda with outcomes, not topics. In emails, use subject lines that state actions. Decision needed by Friday. Approve Q2 budget. Keep paragraphs short and lead with the action or ask. In voice messages, begin with the requested time and call to action in the first 5 seconds. Practice public speaking by teaching something small. Teach a friend a 5-minute skill and require them to teach it back in 3 sentences. Teaching forces simplification and reveals where explanation fails. Use the 5-word reduction exercise before every presentation to find the core message. If the audience cannot repeat the core back to you in their own words, clarity is not achieved. Finally, adopt a Stoic framework for setbacks. Miscommunication will occur. Treat it as information, not insult. Identify what controlled actions could have prevented it and which details were outside control. Adjust the process, not the person. Discipline is a cycle. Plan, act, observe, refine. Each conversation becomes a laboratory for improvement. Clarity through mindful communication is a daily discipline that reshapes relationships, leadership, and inner life. It is not about never erring. It is about designing a practice where error reveals the next step. Small, repeated choices, simplifying a sentence, pausing before answering, confirming an agreement, add up to a language of credibility. That language opens doors, reduces friction, and aligns others with purpose. Practice consistently, track honestly, respond with calm. Progress compounds and the habit of clarity becomes the quiet force that carries intention into the world. Number 2. Decode emotions to shape responses. Understanding emotions is the foundation of powerful communication. Every conversation carries an undercurrent of feeling, some visible, some hidden behind words and tone. The ability to decode these emotions is what separates an ordinary communicator from an influential one. To understand emotion is to understand motivation, and once motivation is clear, the response can be shaped with precision and empathy. People rarely remember the exact words said to them, but they always remember how they felt in that moment. Shaping that feeling with awareness and integrity is the heart of emotional intelligence. Every emotion is a message. It reveals a need, a fear, or a value. Anger often hides hurt or disappointment. Anxiety points to uncertainty. Frustration signals a blocked goal. Joy reflects connection or achievement. Instead of reacting to the surface emotion, pause and ask what it might be trying to communicate. The key is curiosity, not judgment. A curious mind observes without labeling anyone as difficult or emotional. It sees emotion as data, information that guides better choices and responses. Start each interaction with emotional observation. Pay attention to voice tension, speed, and energy level. Notice posture, breathing, and facial expressions. A quickened speech pattern may indicate nervousness. A long pause might show hesitation or fear. The more attuned you become to these subtle cues, the better you can shape your tone and words to fit the moment. When someone's shoulders tighten or their tone sharpens, match their energy for a moment, then guide it toward calm. Mirroring followed by softening helps regulate emotional rhythm without confrontation. In communication, emotion spreads like heat. One person's tension can trigger another's. If you stay unaware, you absorb it and react unconsciously. If you stay aware, you regulate it. Before entering an emotionally charged space, ground yourself with a slow breath. Exhale longer than you inhale. This tells the nervous system to relax. When you're calm, you become the emotional thermostat in the room rather than the thermometer. Others will subconsciously adjust to your steady state. Emotional decoding begins with self-awareness. You cannot accurately read others while disconnected from your own state. Each morning, take a short scan of your inner world. Name what you feel in one word. Calm, anxious, hopeful, irritated, whatever it is. Acknowledge it without resistance. When emotion is named, it loses its power to control behavior. This awareness keeps you from projecting your mood onto others. A calm mind reads emotions more clearly because it's not clouded by its own noise. Responding to emotion requires empathy. But empathy doesn't mean absorbing someone's pain. It means recognizing it and responding with steadiness. When a coworker speaks in frustration, instead of countering defensively, say, "I can see this situation is stressful." This simple acknowledgement disarms tension. It shows understanding without surrendering authority. Validation does not equal agreement. It signals respect for their experience. That respect becomes the foundation for constructive dialogue. When decoding emotion in conversation, listen beyond content. Words tell one story, tone and rhythm tell another. A person might say, "I'm fine," while avoiding eye contact and crossing their arms. The mismatch between language and behavior signals an unspoken feeling. Instead of confronting it directly, create space for honesty by saying, "It sounds like something still feels unresolved." This kind of observation invites openness without accusation. The goal is not to expose emotion, but to make room for truth. In leadership, shaping responses to emotion is essential for trust. When people feel seen, they lower defenses. This allows influence to flow naturally, not through authority but through connection. For example, if a team feels anxious about change, avoid overwhelming them with logic. Start with reassurance. Change feels uncertain, and that's normal. Here's what stays the same. By naming the emotion first, logic finds a path into the mind that fear has closed. Logic without emotional attunement feels cold. Empathy without direction feels empty. Balance both, and communication becomes powerful. Personal relationships demand the same skill. When emotions rise during disagreement, focus on emotional decoding instead of winning arguments. Ask yourself, what is this person really trying to protect or express? Sometimes anger defends pride, fear, or the need to feel respected. Respond to that need rather than the tone. For instance, when someone snaps, "You never listen," respond calmly. "It sounds like you don't feel heard right now. Tell me what part I missed." This transforms conflict into collaboration. It shifts the moment from attack to understanding. Emotionally intelligent communication requires sensitivity without surrender. Do not sacrifice clarity for comfort. When you sense heightened emotion, stay gentle but direct. Avoid vague words like maybe or sort of. Ambiguity increases anxiety. Clear, respectful language creates safety. For instance, instead of saying, "We might need to review your performance," say, "We need to discuss how we can improve your recent results." Clarity with compassion builds trust faster than kindness alone. To strengthen emotional decoding, observe people in everyday settings. Watch how they react to feedback, compliments, or interruptions. Notice patterns. Some people withdraw under pressure. Others become louder. Learn their emotional signatures. When you can anticipate emotional triggers, you can prevent escalation. Preparation is not manipulation. It's emotional foresight. It allows you to steer the tone of interactions toward understanding before misunderstanding grows. Use emotional mirroring carefully. Matching someone's tone or posture briefly helps them feel understood, but do not stay there. Lead the tone toward calm, confidence, or warmth depending on the situation. If someone speaks rapidly out of anxiety, start by matching their rhythm, then slow yours gradually. They will unconsciously adjust. This technique is subtle but powerful. It restores balance without a single direct command. Emotionally decoding oneself is a lifetime practice. Every reaction you have toward others is a mirror of an internal belief. If criticism feels unbearable, it might reflect a fear of inadequacy. If anger arises quickly, it may signal unmet expectations. Awareness gives you the power to choose your response. The Stoic view teaches that no external event controls you, only your interpretation does. The disciplined communicator focuses on what is within control, the attitude, tone, and action that follow emotion. Train the body to recognize emotional cues through stillness. In moments of tension, the body tightens before the mind reacts. Shoulders lift, stomach hardens, breath shortens. When this happens, slow down your physical response. Drop the shoulders, lengthen the breath, and the emotion will pass through instead of exploding outward. Physical composure becomes emotional clarity. In digital communication, decoding emotion is harder because visual and auditory cues vanish. Compensate by paying attention to timing, word choice, and punctuation. Short, abrupt responses often mean frustration or disinterest. Long, over-explained messages may signal anxiety. When emotion seems unclear, never assume intent. Ask, "I want to make sure I understood your message correctly. Did you mean X or Y?" Clarifying intent avoids unnecessary tension and shows emotional responsibility even through text. To build emotional resilience, practice responding rather than reacting. A reaction is automatic, driven by instinct. A response is chosen, shaped by awareness. Between stimulus and response lies a brief space. That space is power. Use it to ask, what emotion am I seeing? What does this person need right now? This pause allows strategy to replace impulse. In high-stakes communication, that pause determines outcomes. Feedback, negotiation, leadership, love. Every form of influence depends on emotional attunement. Facts inform the mind, but emotions move decisions. When you understand the emotional layer beneath words, persuasion becomes natural, not forced. You no longer push ideas. You guide them through emotional truth. Influence built on empathy lasts longer because it respects human nature. The practice of decoding emotions teaches humility. You learn that behind every difficult conversation is a person trying to protect something important. Recognizing this softens judgment. It reminds you that communication is not a battlefield, but a bridge. Emotional decoding is not about controlling others. It's about understanding them well enough to meet them where they are and guide the moment toward clarity. Every day offers a chance to strengthen this skill. Notice emotions in yourself first, then in others. Listen beneath words. Observe without haste, and respond with calm awareness. Over time, emotional understanding becomes instinctive. Your presence will quiet tension, your words will carry weight, and your influence will expand naturally. People will trust you not because you always agree with them, but because they feel genuinely understood. That is the essence of shaping responses through emotional intelligence, the quiet strength that turns simple communication into lasting impact. Number 3, build authority with confident tone. Authority begins where hesitation ends. Confidence in communication is not about dominance or volume. It is the quiet certainty that your words hold weight because they come from a place of understanding, preparation, and calm conviction. People do not follow those who speak the loudest. They follow those whose tone reflects steadiness. Confidence is felt before it is understood. It travels through rhythm, breath, and word choice long before logic takes hold. Building authority starts with mastering how you sound, not how much you say. The tone of your voice tells the listener how to interpret your message. It shapes the atmosphere of trust or doubt in seconds. A shaky tone suggests uncertainty, while a steady one signals control. Authority grows when your tone matches your intention, clear, grounded, and assured. You build this tone through discipline, not through forced charisma. When the voice and the message align, influence becomes natural. To develop a confident tone, begin by anchoring your breath. Most people speak from the upper chest, which causes a high, tense sound that betrays nerves. Breathe from the diaphragm instead, feeling the air expand your abdomen. This deeper breath lowers your vocal pitch slightly and adds resonance. A resonant tone projects calm authority without effort. Practicing deep breathing daily conditions the body to stay steady during stress, allowing your voice to stay firm when pressure rises. Pace is another marker of authority. Speaking too quickly signals anxiety. Speaking too slowly may sound uncertain or forced. The ideal pace carries a rhythm that feels deliberate but alive. Before speaking, take one calm breath and start slightly slower than your instinct. It trains the listener to focus and gives you time to shape ideas precisely. Pausing at natural breaks, especially after important points, invites reflection. Silence between words is a hidden form of power. It proves you are comfortable enough not to rush. Confidence in tone also depends on vocal clarity. Enunciate each word completely. Slurred or mumbled words weaken impact, even when the message is strong. To sharpen articulation, practice reading aloud for 5 minutes daily, exaggerating pronunciation until it becomes second nature. Imagine every word leaving your mouth with structure and purpose. When words sound crisp, they carry authority even in casual conversation. Word choice influences tone as much as sound. Confident speakers favor direct language. Replace tentative phrases like I think, maybe, or kind of, with clear statements such as I believe, I recommend, or the best option. This subtle shift transforms your speech from hesitant to decisive. Authority does not demand arrogance. It simply requires ownership of ideas. People trust those who speak with certainty because it signals responsibility. Confidence also lives in posture. The body communicates before the mouth opens. Stand or sit upright with shoulders relaxed, feet grounded and hands still. Fidgeting or shifting weight constantly sends mixed signals. Maintain an open posture, palms visible, head level, eyes steady. Your body becomes the frame that holds your voice. When posture aligns with purpose, authority radiates naturally. Before entering any conversation, prepare your tone mentally. Visualize the outcome, not the fear. Picture yourself calm and in control, guiding the discussion with respect and clarity. Mental rehearsal shapes the physical response. When the moment arrives, the body and voice follow the image the mind has built. Confidence is not a sudden surge. It is the result of quiet rehearsal done in private. Emotion must be managed, not hidden. Authority grows when emotions serve the message, rather than overwhelm it. Anger, impatience, or fear disrupt tone and confuse listeners. When emotion rises, take a short pause, lower your breath, and speak a little slower than usual. This small control mechanism signals self-command. People respect composure under tension more than perfection in calm situations. Building authority also means mastering the art of emphasis. Place weight on keywords that carry meaning rather than speeding evenly through every sentence. Emphasis gives structure and helps listeners follow your direction. However, overuse weakens its effect. The goal is balance. Enough emphasis to highlight importance, but not enough to sound rehearsed. Practice reading a paragraph and stressing only 3 keywords per sentence. This exercise sharpens awareness of verbal rhythm. Authority grows when the voice mirrors conviction, but conviction comes from preparation. Know your material thoroughly. Confidence without knowledge is noise. Confidence with knowledge is influence. Before a meeting, rehearse answers to possible questions. Outline your main ideas in simple terms. The more you understand your content, the more relaxed your delivery becomes. True authority emerges from readiness, not performance. In conversation, authority also comes from presence. Be fully engaged in the moment. Avoid checking devices or looking away while others speak. Give undivided attention. Presence creates gravity. It makes people feel valued and heard. When you respond, maintain calm eye contact and speak in measured tones. Presence communicates that you are in control of yourself and respectful of others, a balance that breeds credibility. Confidence in tone extends to handling disagreement. When challenged, avoid raising your voice or speeding up. That signals insecurity. Instead, lower your volume slightly and keep sentences short. This tone shift commands attention and diffuses escalation. A steady voice during conflict projects maturity and control. Authority does not fight to win every argument. It stays centered enough to guide the discussion toward resolution. Authority also depends on consistency. A confident tone loses power when it changes unpredictably. Keep the same calm strength in every situation, whether addressing a crowd or speaking with one person. The mind learns to associate your tone with reliability. That consistency builds reputation over time. Reliability, not perfection, is what makes authority lasting. In written communication, tone matters as much as voice. Confidence translates through structure and word choice. Start messages with purpose, not apology. Replace openings like "sorry to bother you" with "I wanted to share an update." End with clear action steps rather than vague sign-offs. Written tone should mirror spoken authority, direct, respectful, and concise. Internal dialogue shapes external tone. If you speak to yourself with doubt, it leaks into your words unconsciously. Replace self-criticism with balanced truth. Instead of "I always mess up speaking," think "I am improving each time." The way you communicate with yourself becomes the baseline for how you communicate with others. Confidence begins in private thought and manifests in public sound. When addressing a group, use your tone to command space, not dominate it. Begin slightly slower and louder than normal to establish attention, then settle into a natural rhythm. Vary tone to maintain engagement. Use slight rises for enthusiasm and lower tones for authority. Avoid monotony. Variation signals vitality. The audience's energy veils your modulation. Authority also involves listening. Confident communicators do not rush to fill silence. They know when to speak and when to stay quiet. Listening fully before responding demonstrates control and respect. It tells others that your words are chosen carefully, not impulsively. This restraint enhances credibility far more than constant talking ever could. Confidence should never cross into arrogance. True authority respects others' perspectives while maintaining one's own stance. When you disagree, do so with grace. Say, I see it differently based on X, rather than you're wrong. Firmness with respect earns admiration. People trust those who stand their ground without belittling others. Practice tone through real-world repetition. Record yourself during calls or meetings. Evaluate not just words but rhythm, pacing, and inflection. Notice if your tone rises at the end of sentences. It can make statements sound like questions. Train your tone to end firmly. Authority resides in finality, in the assurance that your statement is complete. Every interaction offers a chance to refine confidence. The more you practice grounded tone, the more natural it becomes. With time, the voice steadies even in chaos, the words slow in urgency, and your presence commands respect without force. Authority is not a costume you wear. It is the reflection of inner steadiness expressed through tone. Confidence in communication is not about perfection but self-trust. When you trust your own reasoning, voice, and calmness, that trust becomes audible. People are drawn to those who speak from inner certainty because it reminds them of stability. To build authority is to master yourself first, your breath, your body, your words, and your silence. From that mastery, confidence becomes effortless. It speaks for you before you even begin. Number 4, listen actively, speak with purpose. The greatest communicators are not those who speak the most, but those who listen the best. Listening is not a passive act. It is an active discipline that requires patience, awareness, and empathy. When people truly feel heard, they open up. They trust more deeply and respond more thoughtfully. Listening transforms communication from a transaction of words into an exchange of understanding. Speaking with purpose then becomes the natural extension of listening well. Every purposeful word is shaped by what has been heard and understood. Active listening begins with silence, not the empty silence of waiting to speak, but the attentive silence of full presence. When another person speaks, focus on their words, tone, and rhythm. Notice pauses, hesitations, and emphasis. These small details reveal what they value, what they fear, and what they are trying to express beyond language. The goal is not just to collect information, but to understand the person behind the message. True listening slows down the conversation. It replaces reaction with reflection. Most people think they are listening when in fact they are preparing to respond. The mind drifts, analyzing, judging, or rehearsing the next sentence. Active listening interrupts this habit. It requires deliberate stillness. Keep your eyes on the speaker. Release inner commentary and absorb what they say as though you were hearing it for the first time. This form of attention is rare, and because it is rare, it carries immense power. The person speaking feels valued, and that feeling becomes the seed of connection. To listen actively, remove distractions. Put the phone away, turn toward the speaker, and maintain relaxed but focused body language. Even subtle cues, nodding gently, leaning slightly forward, signal engagement. When your body listens, your mind follows. Small gestures such as repeating a keyword or saying, "That's interesting, tell me more," encourage openness. These signals show that you are not merely hearing, but engaging with intent to understand. Listening does not mean agreement. It means you respect the right of another to express their experience fully. You can disagree later, but first, allow them to finish without interruption. This patience gives you access to their full message rather than fragments. Interrupting shuts down trust instantly. People interpret it as dismissal. When you wait until they finish, you demonstrate discipline. That discipline, over time, builds your credibility. Active listening also means listening for what is not said. Silence, avoidance, or emotional shifts often reveal truths that words conceal. If someone's words express confidence but their eyes show worry, acknowledge the contrast gently. You might say, "You sound confident about the plan, though it seems something still concerns you." This careful reflection helps bring hidden concerns into the open. It allows dialogue to move from surface to depth without confrontation. The art of listening deepens when you ask precise questions. Questions act as mirrors. They show people what they have said and help them see their own thoughts clearly. The best questions are open-ended, beginning with what, how, or, for instance, "What do you think would solve this problem?" Or how did that situation make you feel? Avoid why in sensitive moments, as it can sound like accusation. Thoughtful questions prove that you have paid attention and that you care about their perspective. Listening actively prepares you to speak with purpose. Purposeful speech means that every word serves a clear goal, whether to inform, inspire, resolve, or connect. Speaking without purpose wastes energy and weakens influence. Before you speak, clarify your intent. Ask yourself, what outcome do I want from this conversation? What emotion do I want to leave behind? This inner clarity aligns your tone, pace, and language toward that goal. Purposeful speaking does not mean speaking more. It means speaking better. Brevity strengthens messages. Long explanations often dilute meaning. Say what is essential, and then stop. Leave room for reflection. Silence after a strong statement lets the message sink in. Overtalking often comes from insecurity, the urge to fill quiet space with noise. Confidence trusts the silence. Authority grows in the pauses where meaning lingers. To speak with purpose, use language that fits the listener's understanding. Adapt your words to their level of knowledge or emotional state. If you speak to someone overwhelmed, simplify. If you speak to someone analytical, add detail. Purposeful speech respects the listener's capacity to receive. Tailoring your message to their reality increases impact and ensures that meaning is shared, not lost. Emotion shapes how words are received. Speaking with purpose requires emotional awareness. The tone should match the message. Delivering comfort demands softness. Giving instruction requires firmness. Sharing gratitude calls for warmth. A mismatch between tone and content confuses the listener. To align emotion and message, check your inner state before speaking. If frustration or impatience lingers, take a breath until calm returns. The quality of your inner world colors every word you release into the outer world. Purposeful communication also involves honesty. Say only what you mean and mean what you say. Exaggeration or vague promises damage credibility. When you speak truthfully, even difficult truths, people sense integrity in your tone. Honesty wrapped in respect creates trust. If you must decline, do it directly, but kindly. I appreciate the offer, but I have to say no right now. Clear and respectful truth strengthens all relationships. Listening and purposeful speaking are inseparable. One fuels the other. Without listening, speech becomes noise. Without purpose, listening becomes passive. Together, they form the foundation of effective communication. When you listen deeply, your responses become naturally targeted, concise, and meaningful. You no longer guess what to say. You respond with accuracy born from understanding. In moments of conflict, this skill becomes vital. Listen first to emotion, then to logic. People in emotional distress often need acknowledgement more than solutions. Once they feel heard, they open to reason. A calm statement like "I understand this situation has been frustrating for you" diffuses tension faster than argument. Once emotions settle, present your points clearly and calmly. Speaking with purpose in conflict means choosing words that repair rather than divide. In professional life, active listening and purposeful speaking drive productivity and trust. Meetings become shorter and more meaningful when participants truly hear one another. Misunderstandings reduce because assumptions are replaced with questions and confirmations. When giving feedback, listen for the other person's reaction before continuing. It shows respect and ensures that your message lands as intended. Practice mindful listening daily. During conversations, catch yourself when your mind drifts and gently return to the speaker. If someone finishes speaking and you realize you missed part of their message, admit it honestly. "I want to make sure I understand. Could you repeat that last point?" Such honesty keeps communication real. Over time, your focus sharpens and distractions lose their grip. Speaking with purpose also means removing filler language that weakens statements. Replace phrases like "I guess," "sort of," or "you know" with confident clarity. Each word should carry intention. Strong communicators eliminate verbal clutter so meaning stands alone. Simplicity commands attention because it signals certainty. The more direct your speech, the more value each word holds. Active listening extends beyond words to energy. Feel the mood of the room before speaking. Observe how others react to different topics. Adjust accordingly. If the energy feels heavy, begin with empathy. If it feels tense, start with reassurance. Reading the emotional environment allows your words to land softly yet effectively. The discipline of listening and purposeful speaking also refines patience. Not every silence needs filling, and not every question needs an immediate answer. Sometimes the most powerful response is taking a breath before you speak. That breath allows wisdom to replace impulse. People trust those who respond with composure rather than reaction. Every conversation becomes a test of awareness. Are you truly hearing, or just waiting? Are your words serving clarity, or just serving the ego's need to be right? The mindful communicator constantly asks these questions. Listening is humility in practice. It reminds us that others have truths we cannot see unless we stay open. Purposeful speaking is the art of using that understanding to create harmony, progress, and shared meaning. The reward of this balance is profound. When you listen with your full presence and speak with deliberate purpose, your relationships deepen, your leadership strengthens, and your influence expands. People begin to associate your presence with calmness and understanding. They listen when you speak because they feel listened to when they speak. That is the quiet strength of those who master both sides of communication. The ability to hear the heart of others and to speak from the depth of one's own. Number 5. Craft messages that inspire action. Words can move people to act, but only when they are shaped with clarity, emotion, and purpose. Inspiring action is not about pushing others. It is about awakening something within them that already wants to move. A powerful message does not manipulate. It connects, aligns, and ignites motivation. The art of inspiring through communication lies in how you translate ideas into energy that others can feel, believe, and follow. Every great message begins with intention. Before speaking, writing, or presenting, ask what you want the listener to do and why they should care. This question sharpens focus. If you cannot clearly define the desired action, your message will drift. People act when they understand both what is being asked and what it means for them personally. Without that bridge between logic and emotion, your words will sound informative, but not transformative. The most effective communicators understand that emotion drives motion. Facts may persuade the mind, but emotion compels the body to move. When crafting a message, imagine the listener's emotional landscape. What are they feeling before hearing you? What feeling do you want to leave them with? The gap between these two states defines your task. Speak to that emotional journey, not just the information. To craft a message that inspires, begin with a clear opening that captures attention. Start with a vivid image, a question that provokes reflection, or a truth that resonates deeply. The opening should immediately signal relevance. Once attention is earned, guide the listener through 3 elements: connection, conviction, and call. Connection builds trust by showing understanding. Conviction provides belief in the message's importance. The call transforms belief into movement. Without these 3 steps, the message remains incomplete. Connection starts with empathy. When people feel understood, they listen more openly. Use language that mirrors their experiences and struggles. Instead of speaking from authority alone, speak from shared humanity. Phrases like, "You've probably faced this before," or "I know what it feels like," to build a bridge between your message and their reality. Empathy dissolves resistance. It reminds the listener that you are not speaking at them but with them. Conviction comes from authenticity. People can sense whether words come from genuine belief or mere performance. Speak only what you truly mean, and your tone will carry sincerity. Authentic conviction is magnetic because it gives people permission to believe. Confidence without arrogance creates trust. When you share personal experiences or lessons, do it not to impress but to illuminate. Vulnerability handled with strength makes messages unforgettable. A message that inspires action must be specific. Vague encouragement rarely leads to results. Replace general advice like, "Do your best," with clear direction such as, "Spend 10 minutes tonight outlining your next step." Precision turns inspiration into momentum. The human mind responds better to concrete instructions than abstract ideals. Clarity gives shape to motivation. Use rhythm and repetition strategically. Repeating key phrases reinforces memory and emotion. However, repetition must carry progression. Each echo should deepen meaning rather than simply restate. For instance, saying, "You are capable," followed by "You've proven it before, and you can do it again," builds emotional continuity. It feels like a rising wave, each line pushing the listener closer to belief. Stories are among the strongest tools for inspiring action. A well-told story bypasses resistance and engages imagination. People see themselves in stories. Use simple, relatable narratives that highlight struggle, choice, and transformation. Describe moments of doubt followed by decisive action. The listener will internalize the pattern. Awareness, decision, change. Stories convert abstract lessons into emotional experience, and emotional experience fuels commitment. The rhythm of language also matters. Short sentences create urgency. Longer ones build depth. Combine both for dynamic flow. Avoid overloading with complex terms or filler. Simple words strike deeper because they travel faster to the heart. Phrases like "You can start now," "This is your moment," or "Small steps build big change" carry direct energy. They feel accessible, and accessibility breeds action. Use contrast to sharpen impact. Show what happens if action is taken versus if it is avoided. The mind responds to tension. For example, saying, "If you take this step today, you'll feel progress tomorrow. If you wait, nothing changes," makes choice tangible. It turns the decision from abstract to immediate. Contrast gives urgency without pressure. It invites choice through awareness. Visual language transforms ideas into experiences. Paint scenes with words so listeners can see the outcome. Describe the sound of success, the feeling of relief, or the sight of a completed goal. When people visualize the result, their brain begins to act as if it's already happening. Visualization bridges intention to behavior. A message rich in sensory detail awakens this mental simulation and encourages real action. Timing influences inspiration. Deliver your message when attention is high and energy receptive. In conversation, wait for the pause after emotion, not before it. In writing or speaking, place the call to action when the audience feels most connected. Ending with clear direction ensures that emotion finds an outlet. Without a closing call, motivation fades into reflection instead of execution. Your tone plays a vital role. Speak with steady enthusiasm, not forced excitement. True passion is calm and focused, not loud. People trust a composed energy more than exaggerated intensity. Let your tone rise gently where belief deepens, then settle into assurance when making the call. This dynamic rhythm keeps attention and communicates emotional control. To make messages actionable, link them to shared values. People act for what they believe in: growth, family, freedom, dignity, or purpose. Tie your request to those values. Instead of saying, "Join this project," say, "Together we can make a difference that outlasts us." Aligning your message with value-based motivation transforms it from instruction into inspiration. Consistency strengthens credibility. A message may inspire once, but repeated consistency turns inspiration into trust. People notice when your words and actions align over time. Deliver on promises. Speak only what you're ready to uphold. Consistency gives your message weight, and weight sustains influence. Inspiration fades quickly when not supported by integrity. In moments when motivation seems low, remind others of their past victories. Encouragement rooted in proof reignites belief. Statements like, "You've done harder things before," reconnect people with their own strength. It shifts focus from fear of failure to evidence of ability. Inspiration often begins by reminding someone of who they already are. Crafting messages that inspire action also requires restraint. Avoid trying to inspire everyone at once. Speak to one person's heart clearly, and many will resonate. The broader you aim, the weaker your message becomes. Focus gives precision. The listener should feel that your words were meant for them specifically. That personal touch triggers ownership, the sense that the action is their choice, not your demand. Feedback refines your ability to inspire. After sharing a message, observe reactions. Did energy rise or fall? Did people ask questions or stay silent? Listen to both words and body language. Adjust your approach accordingly. Inspiration is not fixed. It evolves with understanding. Each conversation teaches what moves people most deeply. Above all, speak with integrity of purpose. Do not aim to impress, aim to awaken. Do not chase applause, aim to create movement. The most inspiring messages are not the loudest, but the most honest. They flow from clarity of intention and belief in the listener's potential. When you speak to the greatness within others, you remind them it exists. That reminder is often all it takes to move from hesitation to action. In every message you craft, blend logic with emotion, clarity with warmth, conviction with humility. Each element strengthens the others. Together, they create communication that not only informs but transforms. Inspiration is not born from words alone. It's born from how those words make others feel capable, hopeful, and ready to act. The true measure of communication is not applause or agreement. It is movement. When your words ignite someone's first step, you have achieved what every great communicator strives for, turning thought into action and action into lasting change. Number 6. Control body language for influence. Influence begins long before a single word is spoken. The mind interprets gestures, posture, and expressions faster than it processes speech. Your body speaks constantly, shaping how others perceive your confidence, credibility, and character. Every movement carries meaning, and the ability to control it gives you silent power, the kind that inspires respect without demanding it. People listen not just to what you say, but to what your body says about you. To master communication, you must align your physical presence with your mental intention. Body language reflects inner state. When your mind is calm, your movements are steady. When you are anxious, your gestures betray it. Control begins with awareness. Notice how your body reacts under stress. Shoulders tightening, arms crossing, gaze shift. These habits reveal tension and insecurity. Influence requires presence, and presence begins with stillness. The more aware you become of your posture, breathing, and expression, the more command you have over how others experience your presence. The most influential people project quiet confidence. They do not rush movements or overcompensate with exaggerated gestures. Instead, their body language shows composure, a relaxed yet deliberate stillness. This steadiness signals self-assurance, and people instinctively trust those who appear grounded. To cultivate this, practice controlled motion. When entering a room, walk with measured steps, neither hurried nor slow. Stand tall but without stiffness. Let your shoulders fall naturally. Keep your chin level. This balance between firmness and ease conveys authority without arrogance. Eye contact is the cornerstone of influence. It demonstrates attention, respect, and confidence. When you meet someone's eyes calmly and steadily, it signals honesty and strength. Avoid darting glances or staring too long. Both create discomfort. Instead, maintain natural eye contact during key moments of conversation, especially when making a point or listening intently. The goal is connection, not dominance. The eyes communicate sincerity more powerfully than any phrase. Posture defines presence. Slouching communicates defeat or indifference, while standing too rigidly appears defensive. The ideal posture is open, upright, and balanced. Imagine a string gently pulling the top of your head upward, aligning your spine. Keep your chest open. It signals confidence and approachability. Crossed arms or legs, on the other hand, create barriers. Subtle openness invites trust. Subtle closure creates distance. Posture is not just physical. It represents the energy you bring into a space. Gestures should complement, not compete, with your words. Every hand movement carries emotion. Quick, erratic gestures make your message feel unstable. Deliberate, contained gestures strengthen it. When emphasizing points, use slow, purposeful movements that mirror the rhythm of your speech. Keep your hands visible, ideally above the table or near your torso. Hidden hands often signal uncertainty. Showing them communicates transparency and control. The listener subconsciously associates open gestures with honesty and credibility. Facial expressions reveal emotion before speech can explain it. A calm, composed face during tension projects stability. A warm, genuine smile softens authority and builds rapport. Forced smiles, however, feel hollow and breed distrust. Learn to let your expressions flow naturally from inner calm. When you truly listen, your face reflects curiosity. When you care, it reflects warmth. Emotional alignment between thought and expression creates authenticity, and authenticity is the foundation of influence. Your body language not only influences others, but also shapes your own mindset. The body and mind work as mirrors. Standing tall can elevate confidence. Relaxed shoulders can calm anxiety. Deliberate breathing can slow racing thought. By consciously adjusting posture and movement, you train your brain to adopt a state of control. This internal harmony radiates outward. People can sense it. They may not know why they feel drawn to you, but they do. Influence often begins with how you make others feel in your presence, even before they hear your voice. Personal space also communicates boundaries and respect. Stepping too close can feel intrusive. Staying too far can seem detached. Adjust proximity depending on the situation and the relationship. When speaking to someone, keep enough distance for comfort, but close enough for engagement. Mirroring their spacing helps create psychological harmony. Awareness of spatial energy shows sensitivity and emotional intelligence, two qualities that amplify influence. The subtle art of mirroring deepens connection. People unconsciously trust those who reflect their body language in small, natural ways. If someone leans forwards, slightly mirror that motion after a few seconds. If they use their hands while speaking, allow your gestures to align gently. This creates subconscious rapport. It tells the other person, we're in sync, but mirroring must be authentic. Forced imitation feels manipulative. The purpose is harmony, not mimicry. When communicating in groups, your body becomes a stage. The way you move can hold or lose attention. Shift your stance occasionally to re-engage the audience, but avoid pacing aimlessly. Move with purpose to emphasize transition or underscore a key idea. Use pauses paired with stillness. This combination draws focus and adds gravity to your message. The moment you stop moving, people instinctively pay closer attention. Stillness, when timed well, speaks louder than motion. Breathing is the hidden anchor of body language. Controlled breathing keeps voice steady, posture aligned, and gesture smooth. Shallow breaths signal nervousness, while deep, rhythmic breathing communicates calm strength. Before entering any interaction, take a slow breath to center yourself. It resets your energy and aligns your body with intention. In high-pressure situations, this simple act can be the difference between scattered energy and composed influence. Clothing and grooming also extend body language. They represent self-respect and attention to detail. You don't need luxury, just cleanliness, fit, and appropriateness. A neat appearance amplifies the credibility your body language projects. When your physical presentation aligns with your message, people interpret consistency as integrity. Influence thrives in consistency between how you look, move, and speak. Silence enhances body language. You don't need to fill every moment with words. Pausing after a statement allows both your body and your listener to absorb the message. During silence, maintain steady posture and relaxed expression. Restlessness during quiet moments weakens authority. Stillness strengthens it. Silence, combined with presence, is one of the most persuasive tools of influence. It shows comfort in control. Energy radiates through every gesture. When your energy is grounded, people sense confidence. When it's scattered, they sense uncertainty. Cultivate calm energy through mindful awareness. Before speaking, check your internal state. Are you tense, distracted, or centered? Align your breathing and posture before stepping forward. The energy you carry will translate into every movement, shaping the atmosphere around you. People respond to the energy of composure more than the volume of speech. To strengthen influence through body language, practice deliberate observation. Watch leaders, speakers, or mentors who command respect. Notice their posture, gestures, and stillness. Study what makes their presence magnetic. Then practice in front of a mirror or record yourself. Observe not with judgment but curiosity. Small adjustments like slower hand movements, steadier gaze, or relaxed shoulders can transform how others experience your presence. Influence is not about dominance, it's about balance. True authority comes from confidence, mixed with respect. If your body language projects superiority, people resist. If it shows insecurity, they lose faith. The goal is calm confidence, a balance between openness and control. It tells others you are secure in yourself and respectful of them. That balance is magnetic because it feels safe and strong at once. Over time, controlled body language becomes second nature. It no longer feels forced because it reflects inner discipline. The more you practice awareness, the more natural composure becomes. You stop reacting impulsively to emotion and begin responding intentionally. This self-mastery radiates outward. People feel it when they meet you. They sense steadiness, clarity, and reliability. Such presence earns influence without effort. Your body is a silent ambassador. It tells the world who you are before you speak. By mastering its language, you lead with presence rather than persuasion. The strongest influence is not in loud gestures or perfect posture, but in authentic alignment. When mind, body, and message move as one. Control does not mean suppression, it means harmony. When you move with purpose, stand with assurance, and meet others with calm energy, you embody the kind of influence that cannot be faked. It is quiet, steady, and powerful, the kind of presence that inspires trust, commands respect, and communicates leadership without a single extra word. Number 7. Align thoughts before expressing ideas. The quality of what you say begins with the quality of what you think. Words are only the surface of communication. Beneath them lies the structure of your inner world, your beliefs, clarity, and emotions. When thoughts are scattered, words follow the same pattern. When the mind is ordered and intentional, expression becomes precise, calm, and powerful. Aligning thoughts before speaking is not about rehearsing every sentence. It's about ensuring that what leaves your mouth genuinely reflects what resides in your mind. Many people speak to fill silence rather than to share meaning. They rush to respond without first understanding their own position. This creates confusion, not communication. The difference between noise and influence lies in reflection. Before every meaningful exchange, pause long enough to ask, what am I trying to say, and why? That small moment of awareness transforms reactions into responses. Thought alignment gives your words purpose, and purpose gives them weight. To align thoughts, start by slowing down mental noise. Modern life constantly pulls attention in multiple directions, leaving little room for still thinking. The mind becomes cluttered with fragments, half-formed opinions, unprocessed emotions, unexamined impulses. Trying to communicate from this chaos results in unclear messages. Take time daily to declutter the mind. Journaling, deep breathing, or moments of silence can help restore mental order. The calmer the inner world, the sharper the outer expression. Every conversation begins within. Before you share a thought, examine its roots. What emotion drives it? Anger, excitement, fear, or curiosity? Emotion shapes tone, tone shapes meaning, and meaning shapes results. If emotion is unrecognized, it leaks into words unconsciously. A frustrated mind produces sharp language even when the intent is neutral. A centered mind delivers clarity even when discussing hard truths. Emotional awareness is the foundation of aligned thinking. Recognizing what you feel gives you control over how you express it. Clarity also depends on understanding your intention. Ask yourself, what outcome am I seeking from this conversation? Is it to inform, to connect, to resolve, or to inspire? Without intention, speech wanders. With intention, it finds direction. The most influential communicators speak from clear motives. They do not talk to impress, they talk to achieve understanding. Each word becomes a bridge toward a specific result. When your thoughts are aligned, communication feels effortless. Ideas flow naturally because they are organized internally. You no longer chase the right words. They arise in rhythm with your clarity. People who master this alignment project, confidence not because they know everything, but because they know what they mean. Their speech has structure, Their pauses are deliberate. Their presence feels stable. It is the difference between reacting from impulse and responding from wisdom. Mental alignment also involves filtering what not to say. Silence is part of mastery. Not every thought deserves expression. When the mind is disciplined, it recognizes which ideas add value and which only add noise. Restraint demonstrates maturity. It shows that your words are chosen, not spilled. This precision builds credibility, as people learn that when you speak, it matters. Thoughtful silence carries more influence than reckless talk. To strengthen alignment, practice mental clarity before communication. Before meetings, conversations, or presentations, take a few moments to gather your thoughts. Outline your main point in your head. Consider potential questions or reactions. Prepare emotionally as well as intellectually. This preparation prevents a misunderstanding and projects composure. It signals that you respect the listener's time and your own message enough to express it well. Clarity is not just about content. It's also about perspective. To align your thoughts, learn to see issues from multiple angles. A one-dimensional view limits understanding and weakens communication. By considering how others might interpret your words, you refine your message for resonance instead of resistance. Empathy and reflection sharpen clarity because they remove ego from expression. The aligned thinker is not obsessed with being right, but with being understood. Inner dialogue shapes external dialogue. Pay attention to how you talk to yourself. If your inner voice is chaotic or harsh, it will echo in your communication. The mind that constantly rushes or doubts cannot create steady expression. Cultivate inner calm by practicing awareness of thoughts as they form. Replace reactive thinking with deliberate observation. Over time, this habit trains your brain to organize ideas coherently, even under pressure. There is also a rhythm to aligned thought. Great communicators know when to pause and when to speak. They use silence as a space for organization, not as a sign of hesitation. The pause between thought and expression is sacred. It's where meaning takes shape. In that pause, you filter emotion, choose words, and align tone with intent. Those who master this pause rarely regret their words because they speak from composure, not compulsion. True alignment means your thoughts, words, and actions form a single line. What you believe internally matches what you express externally. This integrity creates authenticity, and authenticity draws trust. People are quick to sense contradiction between speech and inner state. When your message aligns with your truth, you communicate effortlessly because you no longer perform, you simply express. Influence that grows from authenticity lasts longer than influence built on performance. Overthinking, however, can obstruct alignment. The goal is not to perfect every thought before speaking, but to ensure harmony between clarity and sincerity. Overanalysis freezes flow, while reflection refines it. The balance lies in calm confidence, thinking enough to be clear but not so much that spontaneity dies. Fluid communication arises from the intersection of preparation and presence. Sometimes alignment requires unlearning reactive habits. Many people interrupt, defend, or over-explain because they fear being misunderstood. These patterns stem from insecurity, not intention. When you learn to pause before reacting, you create space for understanding. Instead of defending a point, you can examine it. Instead of interrupting, you can listen. This shift from emotional reaction to deliberate response transforms not only how you communicate, but how people respond to you. Body and breath support mental alignment. When the mind races, the body tightens. When you consciously slow your breathing, thoughts begin to settle. The body signals the brain that it's safe to slow down. Speaking from this state produces calm rhythm and steady tone. Influence arises not just from what you say, but from how your energy feels when you say it. Alignment is both mental and physical, a unified presence that communicates harmony. To practice alignment daily, start small. Before replying to a message or answering a question, take one breath and mentally frame your response. Before sharing an opinion, ask if it contributes value or clarity. Before entering a discussion, remind yourself of your purpose. Over time, this becomes instinctive. You begin to speak from grounded awareness, not scattered reaction. Aligned thinking also deepens empathy. When you take time to understand your own thoughts, You become more capable of understanding others. You learn to hear the intent behind words, not just their sound. This awareness allows you to communicate in ways that connect instead of collide. Thought alignment is therefore not self-centered, it's relational. It refines your ability to build bridges instead of barriers. Every influential communicator you admire, from leaders to mentors, shares one trait: internal coherence. They may use different styles, but their strength lies in unity between thought, word, and action. They take time to think clearly before they speak, and they mean what they say. This discipline commands respect without force. People trust those who seem centered because their presence brings mental order into emotional situations. In moments of conflict or stress, alignment becomes your greatest tool. When tempers rise, the untrained mind reacts. The trained mind pauses, organizes, and then speaks. That moment of organization changes everything. It allows logic to lead emotion and ensures that your words serve resolution instead of escalation. The ability to stay composed while others lose clarity is a mark of quiet power. Ultimately, aligning thoughts before expressing ideas is an act of respect, both for yourself and for others. It honors the value of truth over impulse. It replaces haste with precision and noise with meaning. Each word becomes a reflection of discipline, each sentence a mirror of intention. Through this alignment, communication becomes not just a tool for influence, but a reflection of inner mastery. The more you practice thinking before speaking, the more your words begin to carry weight, not because they are louder, but because they are true, deliberate, and aligned with who you are. Number 8. Use persuasion ethically and effectively. Persuasion is often misunderstood as manipulation, but true persuasion is not about tricking people into doing what you want. It is about presenting ideas in ways that allow others to see value and make informed choices. Ethical persuasion respects autonomy while guiding understanding. It is a practice rooted in integrity, clarity, and empathy. When used effectively, it creates influence that lasts because it is built on trust rather than coercion. The foundation of ethical persuasion begins with understanding your audience. To influence others, you must know their needs, desires, and challenges. This does not mean exploiting vulnerabilities. It means listening carefully and empathizing. The more accurately you perceive their perspective, the more your ideas can resonate. Persuasion starts not with speaking, but with absorbing. A clear understanding of context allows communication to meet others where they are, rather than imposing where they are not ready to receive. Clarity strengthens persuasion. Confused messages rarely move hearts or minds. Present your points in simple, logical order, and avoid overloading with unnecessary details. Use concrete examples and relatable language. Abstract arguments feel distant, while practical illustrations connect thought to experience. When people grasp your ideas immediately, they are more likely to consider adopting them. Complexity without clarity undermines even the strongest argument. Ethical persuasion depends on credibility. People are persuaded by those they trust. Credibility is earned through honesty, expertise, and consistency. Speak only about what you understand and have verified. Avoid exaggeration, misinformation, or empty promises. When you present yourself as reliable, your words gain weight naturally. Authority without trust is empty. Trust without clarity is wasted. Ethical persuasion merges both. Emotional appeal is powerful, but it must be balanced with integrity. Emotions are the drivers of action. They help people connect with ideas on a human level. Stories, vivid imagery, and shared experiences bring abstract ideas to life. Yet emotional engagement should never misrepresent facts or manipulate fear unduly. True persuasion allows emotions to illuminate logic, not override it. When people feel the truth emotionally as well as intellectually, they are naturally motivated to. Active listening reinforces ethical persuasion. When you pay attention to objections, questions, or hesitation, you learn where alignment is missing. Responding to concerns with patience and empathy demonstrates respect and strengthens influence. Listening before responding prevents arguments and ensures that your guidance addresses real needs, not assumptions. People feel understood, and influence grows without pressure. Framing is essential. How you present information shapes perception. Frame your ideas to highlight benefits clearly and fairly, avoiding exaggeration. Instead of saying you must do this, offer reasoning. Here's how this approach can help achieve your goals effectively. Ethical framing emphasizes value rather than control. It helps the listener see the relevance of your idea to their priorities. Subtle shifts in phrasing create openness rather than resistance. Reciprocity is a natural aspect of influence. People are more likely to consider your ideas when they feel that you have provided value first. Sharing insights, assistance, or guidance without immediate expectation builds goodwill. Ethical persuasion grows from giving before asking. When the listener feels respected and supported, they are more receptive to suggestions. Persuasion then becomes a shared journey, not a transaction. Transparency is a cornerstone of ethical persuasion. Make intentions clear. If your goal involves cooperation, mutual benefit, or decision-making, say so honestly. Hidden motives breed mistrust. Ethical persuaders maintain clarity about outcomes. Transparency communicates respect for the other person's autonomy and allows choices to be informed. Influence achieved through openness is sustainable, while influence obtained through concealment erodes credibility. Consistency strengthens persuasive impact. Repeating key ideas in different ways while maintaining the same underlying principle reinforces understanding without coercion. Messages delivered erratically or inconsistently create confusion and reduce willingness to follow guidance. Consistent reasoning demonstrates reliability and reinforces trust. People naturally gravitate toward ideas that feel stable and grounded. The language of persuasion should empower, not diminish. Avoid language that shames, belittles, or pressures. Encourage exploration of ideas, offering reasons and benefits, rather than threats or guilt. People respond better when they feel choice, rather than obligation. Ethical influence nurtures autonomy, fostering cooperation rather than resistance. Empowerment breeds commitment, while coercion breeds rebellion. Stories are among the most effective tools for ethical persuasion. Narratives transform concepts into lived experience. They demonstrate outcomes, highlight lessons, and make abstract principles tangible. A well-told story allows the listener to imagine themselves in the scenario, to feel the consequence of decisions, and to internalize the idea naturally. Stories persuade without force because they invite reflection rather than command compliance. Timing amplifies persuasion. Present ideas when the audience is receptive, attentive, and open. Forcing a message during stress, distraction, or fatigue reduces effectiveness. Patience in choosing the right moment conveys awareness and care. Ethical influence respects the readiness of others, creating space for reflection and voluntary alignment with the message. Credible persuasion balances logic and emotion. Rational arguments appeal to reason, demonstrating feasibility, evidence, and advantage. Emotional appeals connect to values, identity, and desire. Neither works well in isolation. When combined thoughtfully, they reinforce each other. Ethical persuasion integrates both, showing practical benefits while inspiring motivation through resonance. Body language and tone amplify verbal persuasion. Calm, open posture, steady eye contact, and controlled gestures reinforce credibility and engagement. Tone of voice communicates confidence, respect, and sincerity. When physical presence aligns with content, influence strengthens without overt pressure. The listener perceives coherence between message and messenger, which naturally enhances persuasiveness. Anticipate questions and objections to maintain integrity. Address concerns directly with evidence and reasoning. Avoid dismissing doubts or sidestepping resistance. People are persuaded when they feel their perspective has been acknowledged, considered, and respected. Ethical persuasion does not ignore challenge, it meets it openly. Responding with patience demonstrates expertise and earns trust simultaneously. Use analogies and metaphors responsibly. They help simplify complex ideas and create mental shortcuts for understanding. Ensure metaphors are truthful and relevant. Misleading analogies may confuse or manipulate unintentionally. Ethical persuasion guides comprehension without distortion, enabling listeners to grasp concepts clearly and make informed choices. Follow-up and reinforcement deepen influence. Reinforce key points over time with integrity and consistency. Influence is rarely achieved in a single interaction. Repeated, honest engagements solidifies understanding. Provide resources, examples, or reminders that support the message, allowing the listener to engage further at their own pace. Persistence rooted in respect is persuasive without coercion. Ethical persuasion fosters long-term relationships. Influence gained through manipulation is temporary. Influence grounded in trust and respect endures. When people believe you care about their well-being as much as the outcome, they are more likely to act willingly and sustainably. Ethical influence strengthens connections, builds cooperation, and cultivates mutual respect. Reflect on your own motivations continually. Ask why you are persuading and whether your methods align with values. Ethical persuasion is self-aware. It avoids using psychological tricks to exploit weaknesses and instead seeks to illuminate choices. Influence becomes not a tool for advantage, but a path for shared growth and decision-making. Ultimately, effective persuasion relies on integrity, preparation, empathy, and communication skill. It is not a performance or a game of control. It is an art of guiding understanding and fostering action through clarity, honesty, and respect. By speaking with both logic and emotion, listening deeply, framing ideas with transparency, and honoring choice, you become a persuasive communicator whose influence is trusted, lasting, and meaningful. Ethical persuasion empowers others, strengthens relationships, and produces results that benefit all involved. Number 9. Adapt speech to audience psychology. Effective communication is never one size fits all. Every person, every group, every listener brings a unique set of experiences, beliefs, and expectations. Speaking without regard to these differences is like casting seeds on barren soil. You may put in effort, but the result is limited. To influence effectively, your words must align with the psychological state of the audience. Understanding what drives them, what they fear, and what they value allows your message to resonate deeply and meaningfully. The first step in adapting speech is observation. Pay attention to cues from posture, expression, tone, and engagement. Are listeners leaning forward, showing curiosity, or withdrawing into crossed arms and minimal eye contact? Every gesture communicates readiness, interest, or resistance. Adjusting speech requires constant awareness. By tuning into these signals, you gain insight into how your message is landing, and you can modify delivery in real time to connect more effectively. Understanding motivation is central to audience psychology. People respond to what matters most to them. Some are motivated by achievement, others by security, recognition, or belonging. Tailoring language to tap into these drives increases engagement. For instance, highlighting efficiency appeals to pragmatists, while framing possibilities excites innovators. Adapting speech does not mean deception. It means framing truth in a way that aligns with the listener's priorities and values. Emotional intelligence is critical in this process. Recognize the emotional state of your audience before and during communication. Are they anxious, skeptical, hopeful, or excited? Emotion colors perception. A message delivered with high enthusiasm may motivate a receptive audience, but overwhelm one that is stressed or uncertain. By matching tone to emotional context, your speech gains accessibility and avoids resistance. Calm reassurance, curiosity, or confidence should reflect the state of the listeners, not just the content of your message. Language choice must reflect cognitive level and familiarity. Avoid jargon or overly technical explanations when speaking to novices. Conversely, oversimplification with experts can feel condescending and disengage them. Adaptation requires assessing prior knowledge and comfort level. Clarity, simplicity, and relevance are more persuasive than complexity, yet sophistication is valued when appropriate. The key is understanding what the audience can absorb and tailoring delivery to meet that capacity. Storytelling is a universal tool, but the stories you tell must fit the audience. Narratives that inspire one group may leave another unmoved. Effective adaptation involves choosing examples, metaphors, and illustrations that align with listener experiences. Relatable stories make abstract ideas concrete, evoke empathy, and invite reflection. Listeners are more likely to act when they see themselves in the story, experiencing the scenario alongside the speaker. Pacing and rhythm influence audience reception. Some listeners respond better to deliberate, reflective speech. Others prefer quick, dynamic exchanges. Observing energy levels allows you to adjust the tempo of delivery. Pausing for comprehension or emphasizing key points through measured rhythm ensures retention and engagement. Matching your tempo to the audience's mental flow enhances influence, preventing both boredom and overwhelm. Questions and interactive engagement allow for real-time adaptation. By inviting feedback or checking understanding, you gain insight into how your message is perceived. Audience responses, both verbal and nonverbal, indicate alignment or confusion. When adjustments are needed, reframe points, provide additional context, or shift tone. Effective communicators treat conversation as a dynamic system rather than a rigid monologue. Adaptation requires listening as much as speaking. Confidence must be balanced with approachability. Some audiences respond to authoritative presence, while others require warmth and openness to feel comfortable. Assessing expectations allows you to modulate assertiveness. An overly dominant approach may trigger resistance in collaborative settings, whereas excessive softness may reduce credibility in leadership contexts. Tailoring demeanor to audience expectations ensures reception aligns with intention. Cultural and contextual awareness is essential. Norms, customs, and values shape perception. Phrases, gestures, or analogies that resonate in one context may confuse or offend in another. Adapting speech requires sensitivity to these dynamics. Awareness and respect for cultural differences signals intelligence and empathy, increasing the likelihood that your message will be heard and respected. Framing matters in every message. How information is presented influences reception. Positive framing, emphasizing benefits, works well for aspirational audiences. Risk-focused framing, highlighting consequences, motivates those cautious or analytical. Knowing which frame to use requires observation and insight. Persuasive speech aligns facts and appeals with the mindset most likely to engage and motivate the listener. Repetition and reinforcement must suit audience psychology. Some groups need repeated exposure to key concepts for retention, while others respond better to brief, potent statements. Adjusting repetition, emphasis, and reinforcement according to cognitive processing styles enhances clarity and impact. Effective adaptation ensures the audience receives and internalizes the message without fatigue or disengagement. Tone of voice carries subconscious influence. Audiences vary in how they respond to vocal energy, pitch, and modulation. Calm and steady delivery promotes trust, while varied tone sustains attention and emotional engagement. Modulating tone to match listener expectations and context amplifies influence. Persuasive communication harmonizes content and vocal expression for maximum resonance. Humor can enhance connection, but appropriateness depends on audience context. Some groups appreciate lightheartedness, which fosters engagement and ease. Others may perceive it as disrespect or distraction. Recognizing when and how to employ humor ensures it reinforces, rather than detracts from your message. Timing and cultural awareness dictate how humor supports adaptation and influence. Confidence in delivery signals competence, but it must be tuned to audience sensitivity. Overconfidence can intimidate or alienate. Underconfidence erodes credibility. Assessing perceived comfort with authority guides modulation. By observing feedback, speakers adjust posture, gestures, and assertiveness to maintain alignment between intention and reception. Influence arises when presence matches audience expectation. Language patterns matter. Audiences differ in responsiveness to direct versus indirect language, detailed versus concise explanations, and analytical versus emotive appeals. Adapting structure and vocabulary to match preferred cognitive styles improves comprehension and retention. Precision in choice of words, sentence length, and rhythm enhances influence by aligning communication with psychological tendencies. Listening remains a tool for adaptation throughout. Subtle cues, interruptions, or clarifying questions reveal engagement and comprehension. Ethical adaptation is ongoing, not one time. By observing these signals, speakers can fine-tune delivery, adjust examples, or reframe points. Influence increases when communication reflects real-time responsiveness rather than rigid adherence to prepared script. Story arcs, calls to action, and examples should be aligned with audience readiness. Some groups respond best to inspirational motivation. Others require rational explanation before emotional investment. Recognizing readiness ensures that action follows understanding. Effective adaptation balances logic, emotion, and context to guide reception toward intended outcomes naturally. Nonverbal cues from the audience, posture, gaze, facial expression, offer continuous feedback. Adjust gestures, emphasis, and phrasing according to receptivity. Silence, distraction, or engagement indicate whether to elaborate, shift tone, or pause. The ability to read and respond to these signals is as vital as the content itself. Adaptation is a continuous conversation between speaker and audience, rather than unilateral expression. Ultimately, adapting speech to audience psychology requires observation, empathy, and flexibility. It demands an understanding of what drives thought and behavior, combined with the skill to adjust content, tone, and delivery. When speech aligns with the audience's mental and emotional state, influence becomes natural, rather than forced. Effective communicators recognize that success lies not in speaking more, but in speaking with awareness of who is listening and how they process the message. Adapting speech does not compromise authenticity. It enhances clarity and relevance. The goal is connection, understanding, and meaningful influence. By reading context, observing signals, and adjusting language, tone, and content, communicators ensure their ideas resonate, inspire, and guide action. Audience-aligned speech transforms communication from a transaction of words into an exchange of influence that is both ethical and enduring. Number 10. Communicate vision that drives trust. True leadership begins with vision, but vision alone is not enough. It must be communicated in a way that inspires confidence, aligns values, and cultivates trust. Trust is the currency of influence. Without it, even the most compelling vision falters. People follow leaders not merely because of ideas, but because they believe in the integrity, clarity, and consistency behind those ideas. Communicating vision effectively means making abstract goals tangible, showing a path forward, and demonstrating that your intentions are authentic and reliable. The first step in communicating vision is clarity. A vision that is vague or abstract cannot guide action. People need to understand what you are aiming for and why it matters. Articulate your vision in simple, precise language. Avoid jargon or lofty statements that lack concrete meaning. The clearer the picture you paint, the easier it is for others to see themselves as part of it. A well-defined vision gives purpose and direction, creating a foundation upon which trust can grow. Alignment with values is essential. People evaluate vision not only on what it promises, but on what it represents. When your vision reflects shared principles, it resonates on a deeper level. Consistency between words and actions strengthens credibility. Demonstrating through behavior that your vision is grounded in integrity assures others that your goals are not self-serving. Trust grows when people perceive alignment between intention, principle, and action. Communicating vision requires storytelling. Abstract concepts become alive when framed as narratives. Share why the vision matters, the challenges it addresses, and the journey that lies ahead. Include concrete examples, past successes, or scenarios that illustrate the future you intend to create. Stories evoke emotion and engagement, transforming intellectual understanding into personal investment. People trust vision when they can see its real-world relevance and the meaningful impact it will have. Transparency deepens trust. Explain not only what the vision is, but also the reasoning behind it. Share your thought process, the choices made, and the obstacles anticipated. People are more likely to support a path when they understand how it was formed and why it is necessary. Openness communicates respect for others' intelligence and judgment. Trust is built when transparency demonstrates that there is no hidden agenda. Consistency of communication reinforces belief. Repeating core messages in different contexts, while maintaining alignment with actions, strengthens understanding and reliability. Inconsistent messaging breeds doubt and reduces credibility. When people hear the same vision articulated with clarity across time and situations, they internalize it as both achievable and trustworthy. Influence grows when words and actions consistently reinforce each other. Empathy is critical when sharing vision. Consider the perspectives, fears, and motivations of your audience. Address concerns proactively, demonstrating that you understand the impact on individuals and the group as a whole. A vision communicated without regard for its effect on others can feel imposed, creating resistance. When empathy guides communication, it fosters connection, receptiveness, and trust. The emotional component of vision is as important as the logical component. People are inspired to act when they feel hope, purpose, and possibility. Highlight opportunities, celebrate potential, and acknowledge the positive changes that the vision can bring. Balance this with realism to avoid overpromising or creating false expectations. Trust grows when optimism is tempered by honesty, showing that you respect both aspirations and practical reality. Body language, tone, and presence reinforce communicated vision. Posture, gestures, and eye contact should reflect confidence and authenticity. A calm, deliberate tone conveys certainty and competence. Inconsistencies between verbal message and nonverbal cues undermine trust. Aligning physical presence with content demonstrates mastery and sincerity, making the vision more compelling and believable. Involving others in the vision creates ownership. Encourage input, questions, and collaboration to show that the vision is not dictated, but co-created. When people feel they have a role in shaping the path forward, commitment and trust deep participation signals respect for their insight and fosters a sense of collective purpose, which strengthens the likelihood of collective action. The vision must connect to tangible outcomes. Abstract goals are inspiring only if people can see measurable results or milestones. Break the vision into achievable steps that demonstrate progress. Celebrate these steps to reinforce confidence in the direction. When people witness continuous progress, they internalize belief, not just in the idea, but in the reliability of the leadership guiding it. Adaptability enhances trust and vision. Situations change, and obstacles arise. A rigid vision without responsiveness can appear unrealistic. Communicate readiness to adjust strategies while keeping the core purpose intact. This shows foresight and practical judgment. Trust grows when leaders demonstrate the ability to navigate uncertainty while maintaining focus on long-term goals. Language choice is critical. Use words that convey clarity, purpose, and inclusion. Avoid terms that alienate or confuse. Inclusive language strengthens engagement, signaling that the vision benefits everyone involved. Precision and relevance in speech reduce ambiguity and create a sense of reliability, increasing both understanding and trust. Reinforce credibility through evidence. Demonstrate knowledge, experience, and competence to achieve the vision. Share examples of prior accomplishments, lessons learned, or strategies that illustrate capability. Trust is earned when people perceive that the vision is backed by both thoughtfulness and competence. Evidence bridges belief in the possibility with confidence in execution. Encourage alignment with personal values. Help people see how supporting the vision advances not only collective goals, but also individual aspirations. When the vision resonates personally, engagement deepens and trust grows. People act most willingly when their personal purpose intersects with the larger vision. Patience and persistence matter. Trust is not built instantly. It develops as people observe consistency, reliability, and alignment over time. Regular communication, reinforcement of key messages, and demonstration of follow-through cultivate belief. Those who persistently embody the vision inspire loyalty because actions consistently match words. Listening is a key component of communicating vision. Allow feedback, understand concerns, and acknowledge differing perspectives. Trust is reciprocal, demonstrating that you hear and consider others fosters openness and cooperation. Vision without two-way engagement can feel imposed. Vision built on dialogue feels shared and trustworthy. Visual and sensory language strengthens comprehension and emotional connection. Describe what achieving the vision will look, feel, and even sound like. Sensory detail makes abstract goals tangible and emotionally compelling. When people can visualize success clearly, they believe in both the possibility and the reliability of the path forward. The tone of communication must be steady, yet inspiring. Fluctuating energy or indecision weakens trust. Confidence, calmness, and clarity combined with enthusiasm signal capability and commitment. People trust leaders whose communication conveys competence while maintaining relatability. Ultimately, communicating vision that drives trust is a combination of clarity, empathy, integrity, and presence. It requires consistency, transparency, and emotional resonance. A compelling vision captures imagination, aligns values, and demonstrates a path forward, while trust ensures that people believe not only in the idea but in the leader guiding it. When vision is communicated with authenticity and understanding, it motivates action, inspires loyalty, and creates lasting influence. The fusion of purpose and credibility transforms communication from mere speech into a force that mobilizes people, fosters collaboration, and builds futures that are both shared and achievable.